Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here for Popternative, speaking to Montse Hernandez about Student Body, which is going to be available February 8th. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, this film is coming out pretty soon. It's like calm before the storm a little bit. Has it hit you that it's coming out soon?
Yeah. Just having back-to-back things, it's definitely hit me.
It's pretty crazy. We're going to get into it. The genre of horror movies and slasher is just some of my favorites movies of all time. And it's such a big genre. But before we get into that, I mean, storytelling, acting, when did that all start for you specifically?
Woo! It started when I was 4.
Wow.
4, back in Dallas, Texas. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. And I started off doing voiceovers when I was 4.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't read. So I just had my lines fed to me and I memorized them. And that's how I would record. I did some modeling. And then, yeah, I just kind of
happened. I feel like a lot of things happen that way too, where like you have this idea maybe that you want to get into something and then it just snowballs and just happens, right?
Yeah. And I just have fun all the time. So I never really think, when I was younger, I never really thought oh, this is a career.
Yeah.
All I knew was that I was having fun. And
Absolutely.
That's where I fell in love with it.
Oh, absolutely. So this film, is coming out February 8th. I mean, the trailer was released recently, so people can have a glimpse of what to expect a little bit there. This looks like it was a fun film to film, so to speak.
It was so fun. It was crazy. It was an adventure. I think it was, well, no, I can't say it was just as crazy as the actual movie because we weren't getting chased by murderous mascots.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was an adventure. It was super memorable. It was amazing.
What do you think about, what did you know about the genre of horror and slasher? Were you really into it? Or were you too scared to watch movies? What did you know about it before you signed on to this project?
I love horror. I've always wanted to do anything horror related, thriller, slasher. One of my favorite movies is I don't know what this says about me, but one of my favorite movies is the original Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of course, classic, yeah.
So good. So when I read that there was going to be a lot of that kind of stuff in the film, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so down for this. I've always wanted to do something like this.
It's very interesting that, because I talked to you about this before we started too. I mean, the trailer's released, right? And you see everyone like high school, and they're in the uniforms, they're talking, right? And then it just kind of takes a turn, and it's like, oh my god, what is happening?
Yeah, no, it starts off super chill, super fun, coming of age, wrong.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, it's so true. It's like coming of age all over the place, and then no.
It's definitely a fun trailer. It's very whoa.
What was it like working with everyone on this, with Harley and everyone? What was it like just working with everyone? Because obviously the people in the movie that we see, you were with them for quite some time, got what was that like kind of working with everyone?
It was so much fun. Yeah. It was awesome. I feel like since day one, since even the table read, we all had incredible chemistry. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that really shows in the film.
Yeah.
Because I know my character, she's kind of like the outcast, black sheep of the group. Mm-hmm. But Offset, very much it was awesome. Everyone was super cool.
What's it like looking at the scripts and seeing kind of the arcs of all the different characters, and then looking at your character and just kind of looking and seeing the roots that the different kind of roots and directions that the characters go in a film? Because I feel like that's interesting compared to a series, where series maybe takes some time because you have a bunch of episodes to develop, right? But with a movie, we're hitting the ground running. We're going right away, Monse, right? We only have a certain amount of time to kind of have that build up, right? So what's that like for you, looking at the script, seeing all that, seeing the arc of your character in the script?
I think it's really interesting because Jane Shipley, her my character her evolution is very slow.
Yep.
You know, like from the beginning, she's, she's meek, she's more to herself. And even throughout this crazy situation that they're put in the film, she keeps that.
Yeah.
I feel, she even though she has to like survive and
She keeps her
protect
cool. Absolutely. She keeps her cool.
people.
I feel
Um,
like it's an interesting situation where the movie does, I think, does a really good job of like,
mhm.
everyone has a role. Like, you see it in the trailer too, right? Like a killer's on the loose. Every character acts a certain way, right? You have like
Yeah.
the people that are scared, the people that have to kind of hold it in and be kind of the heroes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is awesome as well. So my other question following up, because so you established that you love horror movies. So my follow-up question to that is, what's it like working on a horror film when the landscape of horror and the popularity is as big as it's ever been before?
It's awesome because I feel like it's one of those genres where it's like I want to keep growing because there's so many different stories to tell using this genre. I think it's a really interesting genre to use for storytelling. Like you can literally talk about anything and incorporate that kind of like fear, like really mundane everyday life things, and then use horror to kind of exaggerate it or to tell a different side of it. I think it's really cool. I feel like
Yeah, and to kind of add to that a little bit, you look at Student Body as well. I mean, this is a film that I think is an example of what I'm about to say, Monse. I feel like this movie is combining kind of new and traditional elements of like the horror genre. When I mean like traditional, the slasher component of it has been around forever. But like now it's like, certain characters say things to people in the movie that like might be like, well, why did you say that? Or like might be like words can be scary. People can be scary, as we've seen with the world.
Yeah, no, and I think what Student Body tackles in a really awesome way is that being a girl in high school is scary.
Yep.
And that's like the biggest thing. I think it's
especially in the coming of age aspect of the trailer, and then it just kind of explodes.
Yeah. I think also I just want to add that I think visually it's very pretty film.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the colors, like everything about it, I just love.
Absolutely. Talk about acting. You also do some voice acting as well. You've done some voiceover work as well, right?
Yes.
That's a really cool thing too, because that's a whole different kind of landscape, I feel like, in terms of doing it, right? Because like you're not seeing you on screen. We're just seeing like hearing your voice. So what's that kind of like for you working and doing voiceover work?
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's challenging. It's so challenging because you have to portray a range of emotions and expressions with just your voice. And I think that's like my favorite part about it though, because you get to like try to figure out, okay, how do I express that I'm angry but happy but like up to something?
Yeah.
It's one line with just my voice. Like I think that's so cool.
Absolutely. And getting back to Student Body as well, when you kind of auditioned for this and you like read the script, were you, because I always get curious about this because sometimes did you know a lot about what you were reading for when you read the script for this? Like the audition? Like, did you know what the character was and everything?
Oh yeah. 100%. When I read Jane, I was like, oh, this is just me at 16. This was just me at 16 when I was like, shy and like, there's cliques and I don't fit into any, like that whole thing. I saw a lot of myself in Jane, a lot of my old self in Jane. So it was a lot of fun to go back to that and kind of relive that, part of my life.
Oh,
Again,
100%.
nothing extreme happened, but at Jane as a person, I thought it was interesting because now as I've grown and, changed, it's like, wow, like
Yeah.
you see how far you come using different characters.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up too, what are you hoping to get out of it when they get to watch Student Body, like takeaway wise, like the audience? What are you hoping to get out of it?
Well, one, I just want them to have fun watching it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Another thing, that I didn't think I would book student body just because I read this script and I read Jane's breakdown and her name was Jane Shipley and I don't look like a Jane Shipley. I'm definitely a Montse Hernandez. So that, you know, you can be like anyone.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like limit yourself. Like
Inclusivity too.
Inclusivity, you know, diversity, like, you know, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. No, that's a really good answer. Absolutely. Yeah, that's well said. No, seriously, that's really well said. I wanted to thank you so much for coming on Popternative and chatting about student body. This was awesome.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you.
So February 8th, they're going to be able to see it. Where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
Both Twitter and Instagram. I am Monse, and that's Montse. Oh, with an underscore in between am and Monse.
Amazing. This has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. February 8th, Student Body will be released. Until next time, this is Montse Hernandez and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.